And welcome to another Cardinals Nest here on HBC TV 25. This is the show on HBC devoted to St. Mary's University and its athletic programs. I'm Dean Beckman, joined once again by our Sports Information Director, Donnie Netto. And Donnie, today, as always, we sort of feature one particular sport at St. Mary's, and today it's going to be track and field for both the women and the men. We have Niels Anderson, the head coach of both programs, on today's show, and also a little bit later on, Brandon Krogman will be joining us. He's one of the runners, a senior runner on the men's team. So Niels, thanks for being on the program. And Donnie and I were talking a little bit earlier, and you are smack dab in the middle, right? Between indoor and outdoor seasons. So are you flipping that switch now? How does that work for you?
Well, the funny little story in all of this is that we're hosting an outdoor track meet in just a week. And River Falls has canceled their meet because of snow. St. John's has canceled their meet because of snow. They still have it all there. We're completely free and clear. We're on our outdoor track. It feels like we've transitioned pretty nicely. The distance runners, they don't care. They run outside no matter what the weather. But it's really nice right now to get the sprinters to get a little bit of practice outside. And just to finish that thought, it's really going to feel like outdoor season tomorrow because, and when this airs, we'll hopefully already be back from our trip to California, the first in program history to go to California and get an early outdoor mark at some really nice weather. It's a really nice way to jumpstart the outdoor season. So it's really going to feel like outdoors real soon.
Let's talk a little bit about that trip. I was going to wait a little bit, but as long as you brought it up, you had mentioned the first time in program history that the team has actually gone on a trip like this. You scheduled it. What was your thinking? What was your purpose for this meet? Okay,
I'm going to be pretty frank on this one, just to say that it has a lot of great reasons. One is you want to tag off of all that great training you just did indoor, and you want to see if you can get, before you really get into that full training schedule, just take what we've done from indoor and see if we can snag a quick, good performance. Again, just like I said, the weather in Minnesota is so unpredictable that we may not see a good weather meet until the very end of April. You know, when we host our own meet, that's usually when things really kind of turn and you only get so few opportunities. So for our athletes, they get a real good shot there. And this is where I'll be honest, it's a great recruiting tool to be able to talk to incoming future athletes to say, hey, here's a new part of our program. We're in line with what all the other MIAC schools are doing. They do the same things. And so it really puts us on par with the people we're recruiting against.
So, and with your team, I mean, you do compete the whole indoor season, but kind of nice to get away as a team as well.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's everybody's really excited. You know, the chance for several of the people on our team, they've never been on an airplane. I have several kids that have told me I've only been in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, and I've never been on a plane. I've never seen an ocean. And so for those kids, they're going to really be experiencing something brand new. But really for everyone, no one's traveled. It really kind of gives you a feel of what some of these big programs, the D2s and the D1s, that they have to travel almost every week. It's almost a burden for them to travel, but for us, it's a really neat opportunity. I think everyone's really, really excited.
Yeah, it's special, and the question I want to ask, and I can't even believe I'm asking it, is why San Diego? I mean, I would say obvious reasons why
pretty
you want
obvious
to go to
reasons.
San Diego in March.
Yeah, look up.
But what is it about this particular meet out there that drew your attention and interest?
So, you know, it's pretty easy if you look at, I was looking for lots of opportunities, and the MIAC has traditionally gone to this particular meet. So Bethel, Gustavus, St. Thomas, there's a lot of schools that have used this meet as a springboard. And if you ever look up Point Loma Nazarene University, the track quite literally is a stone's throw from the ocean. And so you're going to get some nice tailwinds for those sprinters and jumpers, hopefully legal wins that count towards some real performances. And then again, we have one of our distance runners is running the steeplechase. Again, that's an event that you got to have you can't have ice that you're jumping into. So it's a neat opportunity for him to kind of get an early jump start on the competition in that event, get some practice at that. He's a freshman trying it out for the first time. So lots of neat things happen as a result of us getting to go out there And obviously San Diego is San Diego. It's one of the nicest towns.
So let's talk, you talk about a jump start. I would have to think that the Indoor Conference Championship was a phenomenal jump start.
Literally,
it was a great, great performance, men and women.
Yes.
Can you kind of talk a little bit? Let's go on the men's side first, because Brandon will be coming on.
Yeah, well,
a two-time conference champion, 6 and 8. Talk a little bit about the indoor championships.
Yeah, I mean, really, Brandon set the bar for the entire men's team. He scored. He was responsible for 22 points of our team score. So, but what's great is as a men's team, we almost doubled the highest point total that we've ever scored in the history of the program, which was really exciting. And so, obviously, there's a reason he's coming on, because he won the 800, he won the 600. Those are all, the MIAC's really tough just in general, but those two events, really the 600, the 800, 1,000, the mile, those are the cream of the crop of athletes. There's All-Americans floating all around in there. And the way Brandon ran, it was the most thrilling of lots of thrilling things that happened. Obviously, our jump squad is really, really good in reference. Desmond Stewart got second in triple jump. He scored some good points for us in long jump as well. And so our relays did well. Our 4x2 and 4x4 both scored this year, and I think that's the first time in a really, really, really long time that's happened. So, I mean, there was just a lot happening. It was really fun to be a part of something where I couldn't see it all happening all at once, because I'm down at the long jump pit, and the pole vault is happening, and good things are happening there, and then all of a sudden Brandon goes screaming by, and I'm like, there's stuff happening everywhere all the time, and that hasn't been the story of our past successes. It's kind of like you zero in on one person and hope that one person really shines. But now we have a lot of things going on all over the place.
And you had the same issue on the women's side too, right? Because Becca Dupe obviously stands out, and we'll talk about her, but there were so many other athletes as well that really performed extremely well at the conference. Right.
I think of Natalie King. I'm going to work my way up to Becca here, but or work my way over to Becca. I don't want to say up to, but anyway, Natalie scored for us, and she was a walk-on as a sophomore. So you just kind of think about that, and to think that she's all of a sudden scoring at the conference meet. Obviously, Maria Miserelli has just year in and year out just been really super consistent, though she broke her school record on her last vault. Which is really, really exciting, or on her last height. So to be able to kind of just see steady improvement, and so she scored really high. And then, of course, she gets tired of hearing her own name, I think, but Becca just really blew away the competition. I mean, there was just no one that was close to what she was able to do. So not only did she get the Field Athlete of the Year, which means in all the field events, there's one person that gets chosen for that. She got that. Then you have one performance. You get to choose as coaches, you get to choose one performance that stood out over all other performances. Becca got that for her job in triple jump. And then we went on to the national championships a couple weeks later, and you have to be top 8 to be an All-American, and she got 9th. So, when that's your disappointment, when you're the 9th best jumper in the nation, it's, that I don't know if being 10th would be any easier or not. But
well, and we had Becca on the program last year, and I know Donnie and I were just blown away at how quickly she has picked up the triple jump. Have you ever seen anyone pick up an event as fast as her and excel at it like that?
Nope. No, that's it's pretty easy to answer that one. She is in a league of her own, and she's still figuring some of the pieces out for sure. And I really have some high expectations. She does too. We both have high expectations for what she will do here.
I felt that in the when I talked to you after the national meet, because I remember last year talking to you in the outdoor, and you guys were all happy with 17th. Hey, we beat our rank coming in. But this year, you beat your rank coming in, but there was a little bit of disappointment because I know that now it's not just, hey, it's great to get there.
Absolutely.
But now it's we want to excel, and I know that the other part of that is with Brandon. He was so close to joining her in the
and I'm sure give you all those gruesome details. But when you just to talk about Brandon for that 1 second is in an 800-meter dash, you have to be top 15 in the nation to qualify, and he missed it by 0.14 of 1 second. That's how close it was. We're talking, and he'll probably even tell you a little bit about that race. And, you know, he saw some little windows where that 0.14 happened. And so, anyway, to, you know, just be that very, very close. He was just right on the outside looking in.
You've got to feel, you know, heading into this outdoor season, but you've got to feel pretty excited about where the program is going, because all of a sudden we're talking about conference champions and national qualifiers and people coming very close to national qualifiers. Talk about where this program has continued to progress.
Yeah, so I when I came in, I had a 5-year plan and I have even a 10 and a 15-year kind of window of what I want to see happen. And honestly, I feel close to where I wanted to be after 5 years. You know, you probably put it out there a little bit more, but just to see the growth in numbers, we've pretty much doubled the size of our team. The quality of the recruits that are coming in are getting better and better. There's going to be other, you know, we're picking on the juniors and seniors right now, but there's a lot of freshmen and sophomores that'll be really exciting to watch. And, you know, that steamrolls. It kind of picks up momentum, and, you know, all of a sudden you're bringing in a recruit and you're talking about having broken 17 school records from the past year. You know, what's interesting about that is I hope we get to a place where we only break a couple. Like Brandon set the bar so incredibly high that the 600, the 800, the 1,000, the 4x4s, the what am I missing there, Brandon? But, you know, I think he's got 5 or 6 school records, and he set the bar so high, and that's what I want to continue to see is that, you know, I might not be able to talk about these years when we're just crushing school records one after another, because when Becca's done, that record in the triple jump is going to be incredibly difficult. So as long as that keeps happening, it's actually going to get harder to break school records if I'm doing my job right.
Right, yeah, that's true. So Niels, last question. We've got Brandon Krogman coming on next. So a nice little transition here. Tell us something about Brandon that he might not be willing to tell us on his own. What do you got for us?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Now, just I should warn you, we'll ask him the same question
about
you.
Me?
So, yeah.
Well, then I better be careful. This is what I would tell you about Brandon. We all know he's incredibly fast. He's an incredibly hard worker. But this is the thing that always amazes me about him. When it's time to set up, we go away on meets, and we have breakfast before we go, and I say, is anybody willing to volunteer to meet me 15 minutes early? He doesn't, I don't even get my chance to finish my thought. He's always there. Any which way he can help, he's the first one there. He's the last one to leave. He never stops until the job is done, and that all just gets reflected in how he races. So he's really one of the most impressive people that I've gotten to coach. I mean, it's nice when they're fast too, but you know, he's just a joy, and he's just incredibly a servant-like attitude every time I've ever been around him.
All right, Niels, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate your energy, and hey, good luck out in California, and enjoy that meet and with the outdoor season as well. Here,
great. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, stay tuned to the Cardinals Nest. Brandon Krogman is on next here on HBC.
With our partnership with HBC, we were able to now be a smart gigabit community with US Ignite and the National Science Foundation. All their other partners are large metropolitan urban areas, Austin, Texas, San Francisco, Washington, D.C. And because of the broadband connectivity provided by HBC, we are a community lead for this initiative where we're going to be able to bring next-gen technology and stay competitive in the 21st century economy.
Providing opportunities for residential and business customers, HBC is leadership in your community.
And welcome back to the Cardinals Nest. Brandon Krogman, senior from Owatonna, from the track and field team, joining us here. So, Brandon, you just heard your coach talk about you, right? How does that make you feel? Do you like to listen to that, right?
Yeah, it feels nice to be appreciated.
Yeah. Well, and clearly you are, I think, on multiple levels on that team. But tell us a little bit more about you first. You're from Owatonna, we had mentioned. Tell us how you sort of got interested in track and field, especially the running portion, obviously, and how you ended up coming to St. Mary's.
Okay, so I started in 5th grade. I ran the mile in gym class, and then the teacher asked me if I wanted to run at the all-city track meet we had. I said sure. I got 3rd, and so I started track in 7th grade as soon as it started, and then people were saying you should run cross country, so I was like, I'll do that too.
Sure, yeah.
I wasn't having a lot of success in football, so I was like, yeah, I'll switch. And so yeah, I did that throughout junior high and high school, and then by the time I was a junior in high school, I figured that if I went to a school where I was able to run cross country and track, that I would take that opportunity. And so when I decided on St. Mary's, I knew I was going to run track.
Well, and I've got to believe that one of the reasons you decided on St. Mary's, in addition, of course, to the track and field team, is the biology program, because you're a major there. Tell us about the strengths of our biology program at St. Mary's.
So you get to know the professors really well very quickly in your college career. By the time I was a sophomore, I knew all of my professors. They all know who you are, and they offer to help you. And so it all just comes very naturally. Like when you have to do a research project or something, it all falls into place because you have these relationships with the professors already sort of developed.
Yeah, so maybe tell us what your plan is now with this biology major that you have. You're graduating here in May.
Yep, I'm planning on hopefully working as a research tech or a similar lab job for a year or two, and then after that applying to physical therapy graduate school, attending there for 3 years, and then working as a physical therapist after that.
Well, now Donnie and I will know who to go to when we come in with all of our ailments, right, Brandon?
We are joggers. You are a runner.
Yes,
so
yes.
I give you that credit. Brandon, we were talking off camera about how long the track season is. Starts in November, runs all the way through May. But for you, it starts in August. Well, officially starts in August because you run cross country.
Right.
How do you do it? A biology major, very demanding major. How do you keep everything together, and how are you able to manage your time as well as you do?
Time management is obviously really important. Getting enough sleep, and the main thing is I just don't want to get burned out or injured, and so a lot of my life is based on that. If these are making good decisions for myself. Yeah. Otherwise, you just gotta learn to enjoy running because you have to do it a lot. And
Enjoy? No. There is no enjoyment. Brandon, can you talk a little bit about? Let's just talk differences, because obviously the cross country season is long distance, 8K. Now you get into the indoor season, you're running 6 and 8, and then outdoor you run
400, 800.
400, 800. So is that a big adjustment for you to have to go from the 8K to a basically more of a sprint?
Yeah, if the race is very different, and the way I prepare is very different. The workouts I do every week. But I suppose I've been doing that for 8 years now, so I trust my coaches to make the right adjustments. And I enjoy the workouts about equally, so you just you depend on cross country, like the endurance and that you get and your fitness to carry over. It does carry over. It's always a bit of an adjustment going into indoor track, but once you get the speed back, you just keep it rolling. It's good.
Talk to us about the indoor season. You heard our conversation with your coach, and you know, your events, as all of the events in track and field, usually come down to tenths of a second. If not, you could even break it down further than that. So tell us about your thoughts on how the indoor season went there.
That's the part I like about indoor, is that it's more of how close the margins are. It's more like more of a competition and less of just seeing how well you can do. So I like the racing aspect of it, the planning. Yeah, the plan. Like it takes some sort of strategy to win a race. Yeah, that's actually, I enjoy indoor a lot because of that. Yeah, you have to learn how. When I was a freshman, I had no idea. I was just
run.
I was getting, yeah. You think you can just run, but then you're getting boxed around by these bigger kids, and you end the race and you're like, what happened? But yeah, now you go in with a plan, and you just try to execute it as best as you can.
And does that plan change for each race, or is it sort of the same for every race?
Yeah, so like when I'm like in the championship races, I was just content to sit in second or third as long as I possibly could, and then just kick them at the end, sort of surprise them in the last 50. But then, like, if I'm going for a fast time, I don't let the pace drop at all. I'll just keep it going, and I'll take the lead if I have to.
You know, being a senior, going into your last indoor championships, I'm assuming there was a little bit of an expectation to win. But have you been able to sit back and say, hey, I'm a two-time, you know, I'm a 600 and 800 conference champion? Has that sunk in?
Yeah, I guess it has, but it's more inspiring. It makes me more excited for outdoor, knowing that I can compete successfully at the top level, which I haven't been able to in the previous years.
Now, if you can think all the way back to your freshman year, and somebody would have told you you're going to be the conference champion in those two events, what would you have said to them?
I would not have believed they were wrong. There's too many other guys coming in.
Right. So what do you think? What made it happen? Obviously, a lot of hard work. What advice would you give freshmen today, or seniors in high school who will be competing in college? What advice would you give them so that they too can reach that point, or at least have the opportunity to reach that point when they're seniors?
My advice would be to believe in the consistency of your running and working out. You just have to understand. You have to have the right mindset to think, all right, I'm working hard today, and it's all building constantly on top of each other. You can constantly improve throughout high school and college, and have your best effort at the end of your career.
Okay, now in years past, I've asked Coach Anderson this question, and he's always a smart aleck about it, and he says one's outside and one's inside. Talk a little bit about the difference between competing, we'll say the 800 in indoor, 800 in indoor, and then the 800 in outdoor. What is the biggest difference between those two races, even though they're the same distance?
I guess outdoors, you expect to get out a little faster, and then really that you can't let the pace settle in the middle. That basically doesn't happen outdoors. Indoors it'll happen a lot. I do it myself sometimes. You just sort of just ease back a little bit so you have enough for the end, but outdoors it's 100% the whole time.
You know, and you're bringing up so many times the mental part of this and the strategy involved with it. You know, when I watch people run in a race in a competition kind of format, I'm usually thinking their whole mind must be set on making sure they've got enough energy for the kick drive. But now, from what I hear you're really plotting and planning and strategizing the whole way through. So running is much more of a mental sport than I think people give it credit for, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, I guess I'm biased. I only know my own opinion, but I just assume going in that I will have enough for the kick. So it's mostly just being in the right position in the last 100 meters.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your teammates. Who have you been with kind of these last 4 years that have helped to motivate you and you really look to as sort of co-leaders on the team?
All right, so Austin is the other senior cross-country and distance runner, and I mean, we have a pretty good rivalry. He beats me in cross-country, but then it's like, I got third indoors last year, then he got second in the steeple last year, so it's good to have someone else to, I guess we're competing indirectly.
I think we had Austin on the program, right? So.
Yeah. So to be like indirectly competed against them, and then it's fun to see the events that I was never, I didn't know a lot about in high school. I never really watched it, but it's fun to watch like the triple jump and the 60-meter dash. It's really impressive to see what they can do, and so it's sort of you're trying to not let them down. You're trying to score as many points for them too.
Do you ever get a chance to watch your teammates very much? Or
I do. I like to, during track meets, a lot of kids like take a nap or whatever. I like to just sit on the bleachers and watch the track meet for a while, and then after my race too, I get a pretty good few hours sometimes to watch other races.
Sure,
it's fun.
You had such a successful indoor season. Can you talk a little bit about your goals for the outdoor? What do you want to achieve now in the outdoor season?
Yeah, so I want to PR in the 400 and the 800. I think if I can, I don't know, have a little more speed and then while maintaining mileage higher than I have in the past, I think I have a good shot at winning the 800 outdoors.
So you heard us ask your coach about you and to give us a little something that you might not tell us on your own. He really talked about your leadership abilities, right? Is that something that with this team and now that you're a senior you have set out to do? Or are you volunteering, the first one to volunteer for all that stuff just because that's who you are? Did you think of yourself as kind of that leadership
I don't think
role?
of myself as a leader. I just feel like obligated to help because I don't know. I'm not super busy. I know a lot of the sophomores and juniors are really in the middle of their difficult college. I'm good though. I can help whenever.
All right, good.
I'm good.
And last question then, Brandon, and that is, tell us something about Coach Niels Anderson that we wouldn't know from just talking to him, or the questions that we ask, and we can hold against him in the future.
I don't know. I guess it's the positivity is just relentless. Like it's constant, and so sometimes it's like annoying, but then other times
in a good way, right?
But then other times it's just like it's the best thing in the world to have.
Right.
Have that positivity from a coach. I don't know. I have a lot of yellers for coaches in the past, so it's nice to,
it's been a nice change of pace there for you, right?
Yeah.
All right, Brandon Krogman, thanks for being on the Cardinals Nest today. Good luck in the upcoming outdoor season here. So, all right, Donnie and I will be right back to talk about all of the other sporting events at St. Mary's. That's next here on HBC.
Elevate your TV experience with HBC. Record up to 6 programs simultaneously. Wireless set-top boxes, 350 hours of storage, in-home streaming, Alexa, Netflix, and more. Call 888-474-9995 to learn more or visit hbci.com/elevate.
And we're back to wrap things up on this Cardinals Nest here on HBC. Dean Beckman, Donnie Netto, and Donnie, the baseball team, they're in action. Of course, we already talked about their Florida trip, but now they're back playing in Illinois, right?
Yeah, they played at Carroll Stream, Illinois. They played 3 games against teams out there. They went 1-2. Solid performances. Unfortunately, left way too many batters or runners on base. But they finished 1-2. They actually are opening up their home season on Friday against St. Scholastica. Games that were supposed to be played in Duluth on Saturday, they're coming here on Friday because our field is in better shape. Softball team opens up at home on Tuesday against lacrosse, and then as Coach Anderson said, we've got a home track and field meet next Thursday, the Dingles Brigham Invitational, so that'll be at home as well. Tennis. Hard to believe, but the men's team closes out the home portion of their schedule on Friday against St. John's, and then both of them are on the road this weekend. So a busy weekend of spring sports, and here we go. Winter's done. It's time to get into this.
I tell you, it'll be great to have baseball back on campus. This is the earliest that I remember them playing a home game. Let's hope that it happens. So that's going to do it for this Cardinals Nest here on HBC. Thanks for watching Channel 25.